welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty fundamental, setting business goals and the strategies that, follow from them.
Right. And we're not just sort of making this up as we go. We've actually got a structured business English lesson as our source material.
Which is a really interesting way to look at it, actually. And it gives us this clear framework, with the vocabulary, example dialogues, key phrases, stuff you'd actually hear.
Exactly. And the goal here, our mission, isn't just to understand what these things are, but really dig into how we talk about them effectively.
Yeah, because even the best ideas, the best goals can kind of fall flat if they aren't communicated well professionally.
Absolutely. So for you listening, this is really about getting practical tools. Whether you're maybe aiming for a promotion, launching something new, or just want to sound, more confident and clear at work. Getting a grip on these goal-oriented strategies and the language around them is going to be really helpful, a game changer potentially.
Okay, so this lesson, it kicks off by laying some groundwork, some key vocabulary first. The first one they highlight is goal-oriented. Now, we probably all think we know what that means.
Right.
But how is it specifically framed here in this business context?
Well, the lesson defines it pretty clearly. Focused on achieving specific targets, specific objectives. And the example they give is good, I think. A goal-oriented employee is someone who, consistently hits deadlines, delivers actual results.
Right, tangible results.
Exactly. It shifts the focus, doesn't it? From just being busy to being productive with a purpose. It's that intentional drive toward something defined.
Right, not just logging hours, but where those hours are actually taking you or the company. Okay, second term. Stakeholder, another one we hear all the time. What's the nuance they're pointing out?
So they define stakeholder really broadly, actually. Anyone with an interest or concern in the company.
Okay, so that's employees.
Yeah. Yep. Employees, customers, investors, sometimes even the wider community, depending on the business. The example they use is about considering stakeholder views for a new product launch. But I think the deeper point is that business decisions, especially about goals, they don't happen in a vacuum, do they?
No, definitely not.
Different stakeholders, they'll have different priorities, different viewpoints. So a goal that looks straightforward on paper might actually, cause issues for one group or another.
That's a really crucial point. So when setting goals, you need to think beyond just the immediate, numbers on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, you have to consider that ripple effect. Who else is impacted?
Okay, so we've got some basic terms down. The lesson then moves into a dialogue, like a snapshot of a strategy meeting. People discussing goals for the next quarter. What kind of jumps out at you from that interaction?
Well, the first thing is the professional dynamic. You see, the manager isn't just laying down the law.
Right, they're not dictating.
No, they're encouraging discussion. And the first goal suggested improving customer retention because repeat business is down, it's based on data.
Oh, right. That grounds it immediately, doesn't it? It's not just a random idea.
Exactly, it's informed. Then someone proposes a specific strategy, a rewards program for loyal customers, discounts, maybe free stuff.
Okay. And the manager's response is just, let's consider it.
Yeah, which is interesting. It's not a yes, but it's definitely not a no either.
So what's the value in responding like that? Why not just say yes or no?
Well, it keeps the door open, right?
Yeah.
For more discussion, more analysis. It acknowledges the idea without committing right then and there. If you think about it, just jumping on every single suggestion immediately, that could lead to some poorly planned initiatives.
Yeah, you can end up going in too many directions.
Exactly. Let's consider it basically buys time for due diligence. Let's look at the costs, the resources, maybe other options that might work even better. It shows openness, but keeps that strategic caution.
That makes a lot of sense. You don't kill the enthusiasm, but you make sure things are thought through. Okay, then the conversation shifts a bit towards employee engagement.
Right, and the manager connects that directly to getting better results. Motivated team, strong outcomes.
And then employee one suggests another concrete strategy, a performance-based bonus system.
And notice the manager's response again, similar pattern. Interesting idea. We will need to review the budget, but this is something we can explore.
Okay, so again, acknowledges the idea, sounds positive.
Yeah, there's enthusiasm.
But immediately brings in a practical constraint to the budget and commits only to exploring it further, not implementing it yet.
Precisely. It's a consistent approach. Ideas are welcome, but they have to go through this feasibility check, this review process.
Which makes sense in a business setting. Okay,
Sure.
so this leads nicely into the specific language points the lesson pulls out. First one, aligned with company objectives. What's the key takeaway there?
Well, basically, aligned with company objectives just means that whatever you're doing, a project, a goal, an action, that it needs to directly support the big picture, the overall strategy of the company.
Okay.
The example they use, making sure a marketing campaign aligns with the company's quarterly objectives, really shows it. It stops different teams or projects from, pulling in different directions or working on things that don't actually help the main goals.
Got it. So making sure everyone's rowing the same way.
Yeah.
The next phrase is performance-based bonus. We sort of touched on this already.
Yeah. At its core, it's a reward system tied directly to what someone or a team actually achieves, their results.
The fails team example makes that clear bonuses for hidden targets.
Right. But the crucial thing, I think, is that these systems have to be designed really carefully. You want to incentivize the right kind of behavior, and you have to be careful not to accidentally encourage the wrong things, like cutting corners to hit a number.
That's a really good point.
Mhm.
It's not just rewarding effort, but rewarding the right kind of effort that actually contributes to those aligned objectives. Okay, last language takeaway. Let's explore options. What feeling does that convey professionally?
Let's explore options, signals, an open mind, basically, a commitment to looking at different possibilities before landing on a decision.
Like the example they give, exploring ways to cut costs before finalizing a project plan.
Exactly. It shows you're being thoughtful, thorough. You're not just grabbing the first idea that pops up. It suggests a more strategic approach.
Right, not just settling. Okay, so building on those phrases, the lesson then talks about fluency builders, ways
Yeah.
to refine the language to sound a bit more, well, professional.
Yeah, making small tweaks for a bigger impact.
So the first comparison is let's think about it versus let's consider it. Is there really much difference?
It's subtle, but yeah, I think there is. Both mean you need to mull it over, but let's consider it. Like in the example, I think we should consider launching the new product next month. Just sounds a bit more formal, more deliberate. Think about it can sometimes sound a little casual, maybe less structured, whereas consider implies a more formal evaluation process.
Interesting. That small word choice changes the perceived seriousness. Okay, next contrast. We need to check the budget versus we need to review the budget.
Again, subtle but important. Check might just mean a quick look. Do we have the money?
Yeah, like checking your wallet.
Kind of. Whereas review, like in before making major decisions, we need to review the budget for next quarter, suggests something much more thorough, a detailed analytical examination. It conveys more financial responsibility, maybe, deeper scrutiny.
Okay, so review implies that more detailed analysis is needed. Got it. And finally, they compare based on performance with performance-based. Why prefer the second one?
Well, performance-based, as in our company uses a performance-based incentive program, works as a compound adjective. It just makes the phrase tidier, more concise. That sounds a bit more polished, more part of the standard business language maybe, compared to the slightly wordier based on performance.
Right. It's those little linguistic things, isn't it? They can really shift how your communication lands in a professional setting.
Definitely.
So when you put all these pieces together from that dialogue, the measured responses, the focus on alignment, on performance, the careful word choices, you really start to see what effective business communication looks like.
Absolutely. So just to kind of wrap up what we've dug into from this business English lesson, we've really seen how important it is to be genuinely goal-oriented.
Yeah, and how crucial it is to understand who your stakeholders are and actually consider them when you're setting those goals.
And we've drilled down into some specific professional language, haven't we? Those phrases like aligned with company objectives, performance-based bonus, let's explore options. They aren't just buzzwords.
No, they're tools. Tools for being precise, for being impactful when you communicate about these really important things like goals and strategy.
And those fluency builders are a good reminder, too, that even like small tweaks in how we phrase things can make our contributions sound more thoughtful, more professional.
Which brings us to a final thought, really, for you listening. Thinking about your own work, maybe even your personal life. How clearly defined are your company objectives in those areas?
Yeah. How much do they actually guide what you do day to day or your longer term plans?
And thinking about that other term, who are your key stakeholders in your career, in your life, and how are you, actively keeping them looped in, engaged with your goals and your vision?
It's powerful stuff to think about, understanding those dynamics and getting comfortable with the language around them. that can really make a difference in actually achieving what you set out to do.